So welcome everyone to the sixth and last day of Understanding Your Vital Nature with Dr. Monica Gulati. Before we start, we'll have a moment's silence, please. So a warm welcome to you all. Before I introduce the last session of this beautiful workshop, and before I hand over the reins to Monica, I'd like to say a few words about the host of this particular event, Nama, because if you're interested in spiritual growth and changing our nature, please put this journal on your list. Here it is. And we always feature one article from the mother and one passage from the mother in Aurobindo. As it happens, the article in the current issue is Vital Education by the mother. So it's a very auspicious time to produce this particular journal with this workshop in mind. So I'd just like to say a few words about the host, because if you are interested in spiritual growth and changing your energy, it's a very valuable journal. And as it happens, Monica has recently joined our editorial board. Nama isn't just engaged in running workshops, courses, and programs, because it's a long-standing and insightful journal, which has been going for a long time, actually, almost 30 years, I think 30 years, yes, available in print and as an e-journal. Nama is the Journal of Integral Health. So it looks at the influence of the soul or the spirit in man's search for health and well-being. It examines man's physical and mental health in an integral way. And it looks at it in terms of his growth and spiritual progress, as everything is always interlinked. It looks at individual and social health from the perspective of the evolutionary process. So it's a vast field. The range of material we publish is very, very diverse. But the one common denominator is the influence of the soul on our health and its influence on the rest of our being. Nama is published quarterly and available online for subscription in either format, so I recommend you give it a try. So that's my bit about Nama. So on to the next session. It's been a wonderful workshop so far, so insightful, and a living lesson on how to address the imbalances and redress the equilibrium in our nature. The last session, I understand, will be an interactive session where Monica will invite you to speak about your own personal challenges, and which you may have written about in reflective journals. So it'll be like an interactive and also an introspective session, I understand. It's sure to be interesting. So I'm very happy to hand over the reins to Monica for the last session of this workshop.
Thank you so much, James. I'm alone with my kids today, so
oh,
in between, some things can happen. Yeah, but it's okay.
Be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah. Disclaimer. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, James. Thank you for introducing Nama. I think it's a beautiful, as we were talking about Satsangat or a good company on the path. So Nama is a really beautiful company on the path. Yeah, for those of us interested.
I'll put the website on the chat, okay, in case anyone's interested.
Yeah, yeah. So today I thought I'll just recapitulate. There's nothing new that we are going to talk today, or no new concepts or anything, but we're going to just kind of maybe a revision of a few points that we have already done. And as James was introducing, sharing of reflections, sharing of challenges, questions, doubts, concerns, whatever. So let us start with sharing of reflections, and then I have a 8-9 slides, only 8-9 slides, which will just recapitulate what to focus on, what is the takeaway from all these sessions. Because again and again, as we were discussing, the mind gets distracted, and instead of practicing one simple tool, we just get lost in infinite number of tools, and we are not able to give attention to any. So that is very essential, to keep at it, to keep coming back to the breath, for example, and to again and again dissociate from the stream and flow of thoughts and feelings, and to know ourselves as something away and distant, which can exert control over the stream of thoughts and feelings. Yeah. So let us start with sharing a few reflections, if you don't mind, if we have any at the moment. And if we don't have, then we can first do the slides and later do the reflection. So I'm open to anything. Yeah, anything anyone would like to share?
Yes, I've written something down. Don't know. Do you hear me? Do you hear me good enough?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because I was kind of hesitating to step over the threshold, but so far it is really coming out of a dark spot, and I never felt good enough. I will read what I wrote. Everything is there, only don't cling to it. The clinging has come into existence out of fear of something bigger, something unknown, feeling unsafety, clinging to the wrong thing, as you emphasized. So that was a really highlight. Now at least, I've been able, since years and years of forcing myself, to find some peace instead of the ongoing restlessness, which means that I can just read a book without getting distracted, which did not happen for years. Having a good night's sleep instead of exhaustion, it means a lot to me to dare to look what's going on in my nature. That's what I've been writing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm sure all of us are able to resonate with what you just shared. It would be nice, Till, if you can put it later on the WhatsApp group also, because yeah, those of us who would like to maybe go over it again would be nice. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, anyone who wants to share anything?
Yeah, I would like to share one thought, because challenges basically. See, I've shared my own personal experience. So I have one daughter. She's just 26. Now, see, the challenge what I face is connecting with her, because her profile, her education, and my education, my profile is totally different. First of all, age difference, maybe the generation gap, you can say. I'm an engineer, spending time in factories past 40 years. So I'm more a kind of mechanical driven person, more objective, and more kind of logic driven person. But she basically comes from the creative field. She's basically an interior designer from CEPT University. Then he went to London for doing some master course in History of Arts. So when I connect with her, I find it a difficult time to match the wavelength, because of the different thought processes what she carries on an issue and I carry. So this, I would say, sometimes becomes a cause of some kind of a temporarily unrest. I put it like sometimes of heated discussion. So this is an area I would say when I connect with the vital, for example. Okay, how my challenge is a challenge. I would like to see how this can. She's very friendly with my wife, but when she talks to me, she's trying to compare this gap sometimes. And then in that process of comparison, so probably she's not that open to me. She's more open to my wife. This is and one daughter. So the thing is, if I have to get attached to the one object to be get attached, but then I think there are gaps basically. But this is a challenge probably, and I don't maybe discourse. I like discourse very much. I will tell her to also connect with you, somebody, because I find it useful. But then it is a challenge for me how to connect effectively as a friend.
Thank you so much, Pranavji. And I think what you have just shared, all of us have relationships which are difficult. Each one of us, not one person on this planet would say that all my relationships are harmonious. But that is our challenge. That is our challenge, because if we do not get in touch with our true nature, we cannot have harmonious relationships. It is impossible. So if I just try to have a better relationship and not really wanting to get in touch with my true nature, you can keep on trying for lifetimes. Not only you, us, all of us. So the only thing that we have to keep it very simple, again and again, I have been stressing, because that's what I have been practicing and has helped me a lot. That can we again and again come back to the breath, detach from the thoughts and feelings, and know ourselves.
That is, Monica, that is the philosophical side of dimension of what you're talking. See, this is something, yes, it is the philosophical aspect of what you're talking. I know that, but the issue is this at the ground level. See, with my wife, I have no issue. Quite good. If I have to go to Pondicherry, she will join me. My daughter will not come with me. No. See, the kind of a tendency, big generation gap would be there because she may like to go with her own friends. So this is, I would say, maybe every parent may have this kind of situation. But then, what I was trying to ask you that, like, being true, I have my true nature, she has no true nature. Those two natures could be different.
No.
My vital, her vital could be different. I don't know. At least vital could be different. True may be a big word.
Pranavji,
true is a very big word. I don't know.
Please pause. Please pause.
False nature. Yeah.
Please pause. What we have been talking is not philosophy. First of all, that. It is philosophy only when you don't want to try it. Yes, it will be remaining for you a philosophy. The other thing is true nature. Your true nature is not different from your daughter's true nature. So if you want to connect with your daughter, for example, in this case, this is just an example. If I want to connect with my children, my daughter, or my son, it's impossible. Again, I'm saying, and you may consider that it's my limitation. I can only, take care of this matter in this way. It's impossible that without getting in touch with my own true nature, I will be able to resolve the conflicts in that relationships. It's impossible. You can try for a lifetime. You can try for coming 10 lifetimes, but that is not going to happen. So that's my limitation, that this is how I see it, that without getting to know who you truly are, without getting in touch with the guiding light within you, which is the same in her, you cannot have a harmonize.
Yes, Monica, but the thing is, we are playing a role. I have a role of a father. She's a daughter. See, the point of the catch here is this. See, like, they're also role-driven people also. See, her expectation from a father would be different than from a mother. She finds me as a financer, for example. I am financer. Okay. But then with mother, she's more getting emotional support. Then, see, when I say philosophical, I mean, whatever communicate was that, the role will be there. We cannot dilute the role completely.
Pranavji, you will be able to play the role of the father even more beautifully if you know who you are. The actor will be able to play the role in the script of the movie very well if he knows who he is truly, right? So that's it. I think let us keep at it, and let us put effort, because we can go in philosophies one tool after another tool, and nothing will happen if you don't do the practice. Everything will remain a philosophy, as you said. So this thing is there with the mind, since you shared that your domain is more mind oriented, engineering side. So it's a little harder for those of us who are too much mind oriented to come to the facts of life, basic facts of life, to come to the effort of getting back to our true nature. So I think whatever suits your nature, whatever path or guidance suits your personality, I think you would know, and whatever brings peace and resolution in your relationships would be the way to go. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Monica?
Yes, Claudia. Yeah.
I love when you say that every time with the Vital we can refine our attitudes, like be more sweet, to go more to the origin of ourself. Sweetness is part of that human, origin, yes. And it's very nice because we always get attached to the life speed, and it's really like very aggressive, and very like with an attitude. And they show that the model of the woman have to be very now like a man, and the man have to be more like a man, or I don't know. So it's let us be very far from ourselves. But also at the same time, I still sometimes reject myself to work with myself, It's like I have this part that say, oh, this bread doesn't work for anything, In reality, it's just like another thing. So it's all the time this attitude inside me that doesn't want to go there, really.
Yeah.
So how, in that moment, what do? You just breathe, or you have another tool or something? I mean, what do you do?
So Claudia, the thing is that we think that me and my story is the only reality. And in that, we actually miss the reality. If I stay with my breath, the mind will come and say, what are you doing? This is stupidity. There in the story. Because that is so real. We have lived it for so many years. How can I say that that is not real? Right? And I am not saying that that is not real, but there is something profoundly more real which we are missing, which can be gotten conscious of if we give attention to it. So everything in your life will actually be overpowering that, hey, Claudia, give me attention, give me attention. No, not the breath, give me attention. And it's just the old patterns. It's not your fault or my fault. That's how we are. We have lived with these patterns for so many years, lifetimes. So how can I expect that in a blink of a second, I'm with my breath and I'm as consciously as awareness? Not possible. We will have to put effort. There is no other tool I am going to give you because I don't want to. We have really touched the root of the problem, which is clinging to me and my story, clinging to the drama going on in the head. I have to decling. And there is no other option but to again and again come back to the breath, which is the connection to the present moment, the body, in the here and now. And when we connect with the breath and relax, it's okay, I'm alive, kicking. The mind also comes back in the now. Usually it's always scattered around in the past, future, here and there. And then you say, oh, everything seems okay. I am alive. I can listen to things. I can write down things. I can eat food. There's so much to be grateful for. But the mind, the ego will come again. Ego is never satisfied. That's the catch. We have to know the nature of this egoistic state of consciousness. It will never be satisfied. One tool, no, give me another tool. No, not this method, give me another method. Just because I don't want to practice. We are all lazy. We are all lazy. Because if we put effort, the ego vanishes back into the ocean. And we are our true individuality. So there's nothing to complain. Oh my God, my life is okay. How can that happen? So ego loves to complain. Mother says ego loves to complain. Ego loves to be miserable. So whatever in me, if we become conscious, and again I find, okay, some complaint coming up, some lack coming up, don't attach to that. Disentangle. Yeah, you see that it's coming up, but you don't have to buy into it. It's empty. Following it will not give you completion. Detaching from it, distangling from it, and knowing yourself as the knowing of your story. There is a story, and then there is the knowing of the story, that I know that this is my thought. I know that this is the feeling right now. Can I take the stance as the knowing rather than losing myself in the feeling and thought? That's it. Just cling to it. I'm saying that even for 3 continuous days, if you cling to this little tool, no tool for this purpose may be required. Of course, we keep on, dabbling around with many tools, and that's okay. But at least get this stability in yourself. And you will see that, as Till was sharing in her poem, or the, prose that she wrote, you feel the difference immediately. You are more peaceful. You have a little more control over whatever is going into the head. And you have your own life. Your life is not puppeted around by thoughts and feelings. You are the master. You are a little bit in control, not the master. Not the master yet, but the mastery is possible. So just stick to it and know the nature of the mind right now. Right now, our mind is a monkey mind. It will jump again and again, wanting more and more tools. It will not be satisfied with one. And I'm not saying stick to this one. I'm saying stick to anyone that you feel is right for you. Pick one little tool or 2 little tools. Practice every day. Not even, that once a week I'm practicing because I don't have time. Because our life will be then, the quality of life will depend on our practice. So every morning, 10 minutes, every evening, 10 minutes, in the middle of the afternoon, 10 minutes, become the consciousness. Knowingly take the stance as the knowing. And see the difference. In 3 days, if you continue, you will see that you are much better in control rather than being puppeted around by your moods and swings of, feelings and drama of thoughts. It will become lesser and lesser. So the reality, as you were saying, that they appear so real, that is the reality. That is not the reality. That is a drama. And if that was the reality, we could have been really contented right now. We could have been pursuing whatever we are supposed to do in this life, but we are not. So am I missing the reality? Yes, we are missing the reality because we are lost in the drama. So knowing oneself as the actor, as the consciousness behind the thought, you cannot miss that step. So just stay at it, keep at it. All of us. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's not an easy journey. Why it's not an easy journey? You see, so many scriptures have been written, so many masters have come and gone. Again and again, people have been talking about what is the mind, how to tame and control the mind. So it's a hard journey, but it's a possible one. We can do it. The only thing Mother says is will, determination. Stick to it. Once you know the right way, stick to it. Do not give in way to here and there distractions of nature, here and there. They will happen. Again and again, many things you would be drawn to, many glittery tools and methods. How many will you follow? Stick to only 2, 3 and just expertise, have expertise there. Do not get lost in the infinite number of tools. You will come to other tools when there is a right time, right? But if right now in our life, I have found that this little tool seems right, it seems that I can follow it. That's for all of us, including me. I cannot miss it, because if I miss, I'm back in the story again. It's a practice. It's a continuous practice. And Mother was saying that, there is this unease Be sensitive to unease. So the more easy you become knowing yourself as the knowing behind the thought and not getting lost in the thought again and again, having a little control, then you see that, I feel easy. And the moment I get lost in the drama of me and my story, I get uneasy. So you have the signal. So sit a little more as the knowing. So that's the signal. We feel uneasy when, that's why we suffer, because we feel uneasy. Nobody likes to be uneasy. And all of us, what are we doing on this spiritual path? We want to be easy. We don't want to suffer. And then progress also comes on the way. Because if I am wanting to understand my suffering and going to the roots of it, I actually progress. My consciousness develops, grows. So progress is a byproduct of going close to my suffering. You cannot miss the progress. You cannot be passive about it. It's not possible. Progress will happen. Progress would be a byproduct of sincerity towards life. Complication is that's the only complication. Absolutely. And ego is clinging to anything. Clinging to my thoughts, my feelings, my body, my children, my family, my ideas of life and spirituality, my judgments, my opinions. So this my is the root cause of everything. Absolutely. So the wave needs to get crashing back into the ocean. That's what we were doing with that tool. Because as long as wave thinks that I have a separate identity than the ocean, it will always feel incomplete. But the moment it realizes, oh my God, I am the ocean, where is the incompletion? And whenever we are trying to, decling, it's, as we were saying yesterday in the session also, that it's a pattern. We are all addicted to thinking. We are addicted to our stories. We make them real. It's not that they are real. We fuel them. We give them diesel and petrol. And then we think that that is the reality. No, I'm sorry, that's not the reality. Because if that was the reality, you could have been really contented, joyous, and progressing. But that is not the case with most of us, virtually all of us. Because each one of us is lost in the story. And that's okay, because there is a task to be done. We have to get out of the story, know our true nature, and unify the elements of the being. Mother says that nirvana, as I was sharing earlier, nirvana is the first step of integral yoga. Without knowing who I truly am, I cannot begin to unify the mental, the vital, the physical. I cannot begin to transform them. All that would be there would be just in the head as a theory, as a philosophy. They would not be changing the quality of my life. We cannot miss this step if we want to walk on this path of integral yoga. And everything which I have shared, it is all coming from words of Mother and Aurobindo. So along with, and we see that all the basic, master kind of truths or scriptures, that again and again point to the same dot. But we miss it because we are so lost. So what is the reality? We have to really check. We have to question. Don't be so sure about the story in the head. It can be a figment of imagination. Don't be so. It's very good to be unsure about yourself, to keep it here and there. That I think this is this, but I'm not fully sure, because there is always more to it. So I think this is how I see my story, but I'm not really sure. And every person has his own reality. So, and those realities are in clash with each other. My son thinks that this is the real, this is how he sees all the people in life. And I have a different reality, and those realities are in clash with each other. No harmony will be achieved. Only when I work on myself, getting to know my nature, true nature, other person is working on their inner aspects, only then a true harmony comes. Otherwise, all realities will always be in clash with each other, because none of them is real. It's just a story in my head. And I know that it's true. Such is the arrogance of the ego. It says, I know it's true. That the person said that to me. How can it not be true? So that's why senses, people have warned us, be not so sure about your senses, because the senses make you hear something, then you interpret, and there is a falsification, as if there is a filter through which I see the world. So don't be so sure of it. So Sarada ji is saying, is it the ego which is always unsatisfied? There are two kinds of unsatisfaction, right? There is one unsatisfaction that I am stabilized in myself, and I see that I still cling to things, situations, I still cling to feelings, I still have a lot of work to do in the physical body also, and hence I am dissatisfied that I want to progress more and more. This is one kind of dissatisfaction. The other kind of dissatisfaction is me and my story. Why is that person not behaving according to me? Why is not he listening to me? Why is that person behaving all the time like that? Why didn't good happen to me? So this kind of dissatisfaction is coming from the ego. This lack, inherent lack. But when I more and more connect and stabilize myself in my true nature, then I see the outer limitation that yes, I am limited in my thoughts, I am limited in my feelings, and I can be better and better and better. But that's a beautiful kind of dissatisfaction. It's good to have that, because then we know that I have to work a lot. Just like others are imperfect, I am also imperfect. But in true nature, I am perfect, because I'm coming from that which is full. So I am also full. But in earthly nature, there is a work to be done. There are things to be perfected. I still have ill will about people, and I see that, and I want to have goodwill. So there is work to be done. So I think that kind of dissatisfaction is a welcome dissatisfaction, because then I'm not too contented with myself that mera to ho gaya, ab tumhara kab hoga, I am all fixed. Now it's your turn. You walk on the spiritual path. Right?
Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anyone else? Any reflection to share?
Yeah, Monica, one more question. See, we know if somebody is wrong, they are doing something wrong. But we know we are not supposed to do that same mistake. Okay. But still, we know that it is not good to talk about them. Still, something in us wants to talk about that and derive some petty satisfaction. But after doing that, oh, why did I do that? I should not have, done that. But, it is very difficult to control that small, what do you call that desire to talk bad about others.
Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. I'm sure everyone would resonate with what you are sharing. Mother has shared on this that stay always away from gossip. This is a kind of gossip. Yes. And you are right that there is something in us, which is again this sense of lack, the ego, which loves to talk about others. And that too in a bad sense. It's not that.
Yes, 100%.
Because it gives you a sense of, I am okay, but I am okay. Look at that person, But look at me, what a beautiful life I have. But mean creatures, they don't know how to live life. This gives ego a sense of self. So it's good that you are able to recognize it, because most often than not, we don't even recognize. And even our friendships are based on such talks. So beautiful that you are becoming conscious of it. Now, the moment I become conscious of this petty satisfaction and desire of talking about other people, stop yourself. Engage yourself in something higher. Read a book from the mother, or stay with your breath, or whatever absorbs your attention. Yeah.
Thank you.
Reject, we come to the second step by the mother, reject.
Okay.
So first you aspire that I want to make my life beautiful, and then you reject all that you recognize as ugly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything?
About the last thing that you say, gossip is also talk beautiful about someone else.
Sorry, once again, Claudia.
Gossip is also speak beautiful about someone else.
Okay. No, I think that cannot be called as gossip, because if you are getting inspired by the other people, if you are rejoicing in, look how beautiful work they are doing, and also feeling good about it, because we are all one. So if you are not at the moment doing some beautiful work, other persons are contributing. So you are rejoicing in that goodness. And that's beautiful, because that if we are able to rejoice in others' goodness, rather than being jealous about their success or goodness, I think that connects us to our psychic presence. That connects us to the oneness that we share.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. There was this lady, I would share a little story on this. So Buddha was invited at some king's palace, and he was being treated. And that king was, as kings are, mostly a little arrogant, but very generous. So he's full of generosity, he's making all the people eat well. And there is a beggar lady standing outside who is feeling who is not getting anything. She's not eating at the party, but she's rejoicing that, wow, the king is so generous and he's treating other people so nicely. So towards the end, they wanted to dedicate that, who should we dedicate all this that we have done today to? And the king said that, yes, yeah, let's dedicate it to people who are very generous. And he was pointing at himself that, dedicated to me. So Buddha had noticed that beggar woman standing outside, and even without getting anything from the party, rejoicing in the goodness that is happening. And he said, okay, we will dedicate all the virtue to that lady who is outside, because she was not getting anything out of that, but she was rejoicing that, look what good is happening, and good that such good is happening. So it's beautiful if we can rejoice in other people's goodness and not talk about, as Sharada ji was sharing, whatever weaknesses they have, because we also have weaknesses. Are we working on them? Am I out of anger now? Am I out of jealousy? Am I out of my clinging? So how can I talk about other people? And instead of that, I can have empathy, that just like that, I am suffering with my weaknesses and struggling with them. Now I empathize that the other person is also going through similar weaknesses, and it's hard. So you have empathy, you have compassion, that it's not an easy job. So to keep the focus on oneself, again and again coming back on our beauty, how can I make my mind, my emotions more beautiful? So it's not about banning or shunning the thoughts, it's about cultivating good thoughts. Using the power of thought rather than being swayed by the drama. Yeah, anything else? Anyone?
I think that I just wanted to share what works for me. Like, let's accept the fact that, as you were sharing the other day, suffering and joy goes together. It's not that if I'm suffering, I have to be unhappy. I know, sometimes there is this realization of where I am and this awareness, which it might be very rare, but it is there. So at that moment, what I feel comfortable or I feel like doing is immediately offer. But the same thing also when I am unhappy, or I have done something according to me wrong. So even that is something I can offer. So for my journey, the only thing that I feel comfortable or I feel normal to do is these two things, no? To be grateful to the grace that's helping me in my journey, and continuously realize that I am with a lot of weaknesses and I keep repeating the same mistakes sometimes, even though I know. But as you said, maybe sometimes we witness it and we are aware of it just at the moment we are starting to do that. So even I was feeling very much into the picture of all the people who spoke in different things. I have 4 children between the ages of 18 and 27. So how do I let go of my strong personality, or and that has been a great lesson, because at a certain point my eldest sometimes tells, we as in the children brought you up well, you parents. Maybe sometimes we need to let ourselves be brought up by them, not just being the ones to guide them or tell them the right things or whatever, because it's an exchange. So if we have been put together in the same family, it's probably to grow together. And then, of course, we can't be in control. So, that is something that clashes with our ego, the fact that we can't control, So I think the gratefulness to the grace that continuously helps us, and offering is what helps me, but also the realization of the fact that I might make the same mistakes again, but just to be, just,
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's beautiful to go through these innumerable experiences, as you were reading in Mother's Prayers also, that innumerable experiences are necessary to complete the process, to go through the process. And if we have children, we recognize the pain also of rearing up the children, of others. So our pain always, helps us connect with the others, always. We become more empathetic. If I have been through some disease, I'm more empathetic to other person going through diseases. So it's beautiful to have these experiences, even of suffering, as you said, because that makes us connect, as you were sharing, that even while suffering, I can be okay. It's okay to be not okay. And also it helps me connect with others suffering, as we were talking about that little tool of Tonglen, that I connect with all the people who are suffering in this way. And inhale their suffering and exhale wellness and contentment. May they be always connected with their true nature. So the moment we say that, we are immediately out of the drama game. It gives us a lot of power. But again, we have to remind ourselves, as you were saying. Yeah. So anything else at the moment, or shall I quickly go through the slides? If anyone wants to share anything right now. Yes, Shilpa.
I find that my children have been two, because I've got two of my biggest teachers along the way. And the ego has definitely taken a bashing very often, because they, bless them, have been able to stay neutral, especially when it comes to family members, either, my mother-in-law, my husband. And, it's like, as a mom, you almost think you have the adhikar for them to side with you. And no, my children have never done that. And it's been quite an ego bashing trip, because they have been able to somehow view from the top, not only from a very young age, but now they're in their 30s. And it's the journey has been to recognize the love that they have for me. At the same time, the truth has taken predominance, and which I actually now have learned once I got out of this ego thing, like, oh, I'm their mom, and they're not siding with me, they're siding with their dadi, or they're siding with their dad, and they're not siding with me. I mean, it was very, very difficult. So it's yeah, I mean, so I feel they've been really great, and have really learned that, okay, what is the truth? What is the truth? And to stand back and let them follow their journey. I said, if I'm sort of bringing them up as mother's children, and I'm asking them to be the ideal children, if you just read that pamphlet, Ideal Children, Ideal Parent, and you think they're actually following the path, and I didn't have to say anything to them, except look at and view at my own ego, which was being crushed completely through the journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely. I think whatever can be crushed or is being crushed is the ego. We can be very happy about it.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely look back now, but at that time, it was extremely difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard even when we have a beautiful stone figure of a deity, you know, if you look at how many chisels and how many hammering has, gone in the process, it's hard. So who said it's going to be easy? Yeah, but it's worth it, because then with the hardness, you also recognize the beauty that comes.
And then there's a tremendous liberation. So there's such a freedom and lightness, which is absolutely amazing. But I can say that only like maybe say 15 years on for, up to their age of 13, 14, 15. I think I was in tears more than often.
Beautiful, beautiful. So in this aspect of love, I think that what Shilpa just touched upon, we really have to learn how to love. And we have to know that at the moment, we only know how to cling, how to cling to my ideas or other persons and people and relationships. But how to love is something that has to be learned. Because if I truly love another person, would I actually want the other person to hate somebody else and love me only? Is that love? Am I wishing a benefit for that other person? Is it good to hate people? So I'm saying that you only love me and you can make all the other people your enemy. Can that be really called love? Because if that person begins to actually hate the other person, would it be quiet and content and joyful inside? He won't be. He would be still in the ego domain. So, it's very interesting to recognize that we say we love, but we don't.
I've seen occasionally also when they would sort of say, oh, poor mom, or something in the sense show sympathy. Straight away, in fact, I was almost like inside me feeling, no, please don't do that. Because the sense of truth came up, that sense of pure love of, and I'm very thankful that even if it was for a split second, that I was able to see that the other person was coming from their truth. And, I was. So I almost didn't want them to side with me then, even when it happened. So that was quite a turbulent ride as well. But to see how to view myself and to observe that even when they sided with me, I didn't want that either. So it was, I had to recognize what I had to correct in myself, and that the journey was always, always, always about me. It was never about anybody else.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And that also helps us to bring our power back, that all the work, okay, let me put my power in this inner work.
And it has created amazing harmony, created extended love. And it's beautiful. I mean, that time if somebody had told me, oh, you would, absolutely love your mother-in-law, I would have said, don't be daft, I cannot. But now I see how that is kind of evolved and happened. And it's actually beautiful because I'm expanding with it through her,
Beautiful, very powerful. More power to you. Yeah. Yeah. Any more sharing at this moment? Anyone? Okay, so is it okay if we go through a few slides? Would you mind? Yeah, just kind of like recapitulating what we already did. So again, I think just to put things in perspective again and again, since we are born in forgetfulness and we keep on forgetting, it's good to remind. It's good to remind. So let us set our focus right again. And again, there may be many ways of settling down the focus, but this is what we have been following through these days. So if anyone would kindly read the prayer in front of us, would be really nice.
Okay, Monica?
Yes, please. Yeah.
May I be a guard for those who need protection, guide for those on the path, boat a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and the boundless multitudes of living beings. May I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened.
Thank you so much, James. Yeah. So we have been talking about witnessing, and I heard that there was a little confusion over what is witnessing and what is really consciousness. So there are, as if it happens in steps. First, I am one with my thoughts and feelings. Like, I don't know the difference. I am my thought, I am my mood, I am my feeling. It's like this entangled. Then I become to witness. I come to witness, as we were doing in the meditation. I'm sitting at the banks of the river and I'm watching the thoughts come and go, feelings come and go. And I seeing their fleeting nature, that they keep on changing. There is nothing stationary there. The only thing there is stationary is that I can see them, right? So that step is called as mindfulness, where there is a duality. So I am the witness, and then there is something being witnessed, the observer and the observed. But this step is a beautiful step, and it must happen, although it's still in duality, because this makes me a little away from the drama. Yeah. So it's like a little space has arisen between the story, the thought, feeling, sensations, and the one who watches. So that's the witnessing aspect in Vedanta, or otherwise we say witnessing, or in Buddhist traditions we call it mindfulness, mindful awareness. But that's still dualistic. Two are there. Now, when we continue with this practice, and then what we do, the third step we do is looking at the looking, becoming aware that I am aware. Now I'm not looking at the content of thought and feelings. I am being with the nature of awareness. And slowly, if we stay long enough as that, that's what we call true consciousness, which is vast, immutable, and full of potential. Everything comes from it. Deep silence, but pregnant with infinite possibilities. And that's what in Tibetan Buddhism, it's called Rigpa. It's called primordial awareness. That which always is, just like space is always there, that which always is. So everything kind of dissolves back in the ocean, that ocean of consciousness. You become that. There is no duality. Thought is also that, feeling is also that, and there is no other thing. So duality is not there. But then just touching upon that, because I heard that there was something, there was a question on what is witnessing and what is really the other stuff. Yeah. So just wanted to touch upon that. Now, a few points to recapitulate. We don't have to lose the focus. Again and again, things will happen since we live in communities and societies. We have families, we have children, we have spouses. Most of the times we have clashes. People are not agreeing to our notions of life and whatever we are thinking. The idea is to keep on coming back to ourselves. Acha, mere liye kya hai isme? Now, what is the work I have to do here? Okay, let me understand what is the other person trying to say. Now, so to be more understanding and to know that all the work actually lies in me. So the focus has to come to me. And the moment the focus comes on my inner work, that it's my journey, let me understand what is the weakness that has to be conquered. We reclaim our power back. We don't give our power away to life situations and people, and happenings. So no matter what the outer situation is, always to recognize that there is work to do within. Keep your focus on yourself. Also, as I was sharing with Shilpa on her sharing also, how beautifully she was sharing that she has been learning how to love, how to kind of be okay, even if people are not agreeing with us, because everybody has their own journey. So to learn how to love, and to notice that we really don't know. We may say that I love you, but actually I want to tell you that you only focus on me and hate other people. So can this be called love? So wishing the best for all, may everyone be connected to their true center and progress in their life, withdrawing again and again from expectations and demands and desires of the vital. And as we were discussing, to rejoice in that goodness. I think Claudia was touching upon it. So whenever something beautiful is happening, either in our own self we notice or in other people, to rejoice in that goodness. That yes, because since we are all one, and if somebody is making true spiritual progress, how beautiful it is. More power to that person, so that he may spill out this goodness everywhere. We need goodness in life. Practice, as we were talking in the beginning, when Pranabji was sharing his reflection, to practice, not to be lazy and to think that we know. We don't know. And even if we know, we don't know how to live it. So all the theory that I may have read, it has no use because it's not my practice. I'm still a very ill person. I'm still a very evil person. So if all the literature has not made me kinder, not made me more good and compassionate and being able to understand others and wish well for others, what fun is all that philosophy? So to practice stabilizing and rooting ourselves as the conscious presence, knowing myself as the knowing. So to be very cautious of the monkey mind, which keeps on jumping, to recognize the monkey mind jumping and not to lose yourself in that jumping up and down. Otherwise, we will be swayed. And then later on in retrospect, after we have been swayed here and there and we have bled enough, wounded enough, then we can come back to our true nature. There is enough time. And also, since we were talking that it's a hard process, thoughts will come again and again. My story drama will repeatedly come back to me again and again. So I have to realize that we have been practicing being the ego consciousness. Now, every practice has its result. So we are experts now in acting as egos, since we have practiced so much. So if I want to undo the expertise, I have to undo the practice also. So become conscious of whenever you are acting out of your limited sense of self and whenever you are acting out of your true goodness, true sense of self, to recognize, to become conscious of it. So the more times I am able to act out of my true nature, which is full and complete, which does not demand and expect, the more I will practice being my true self and undo the practice of being the ego. And it will show in my life. So keep the company also going. I think depending on whatever suits your needs, every person has natural, their inherent inclinations. Some people may read more and understand more through that reading. Some people may just sing more and dance more, and through that they become stabilized. So whatever suits you, but do not give up the practice, because otherwise if we give up the practice, the old patterns will overtake. It's like, our being is like a crater on the road. Indian roads have lots of craters, right? And if something beautiful is not growing or occupying that crater, very soon, if you leave that crater empty, some garbage or polythenes and all that stuff will come and fill up that crater. So what are you doing with your time? What are you engaging in throughout 24/7? So do not keep the crater empty, because very soon the old habits will come and occupy that place. So to occupy ourselves with something higher, something which keeps on reminding ourselves of our true nature, anything that works for you. And this is from the mother, actually. Mother, I think I had shared in the WhatsApp chat also 2 snapshots from the book on the mother by K.R. Srinivasa Iyengar. It's a very thick book. She says there that each one of us has a unique role to fulfill. And I'm just rephrasing her words. It's not the exact phrase by the mother. And that role no one else can fulfill. That role is only to be fulfilled by that particular person. And that's what we were discussing in the beginning, a few sessions, that each one is very unique, very special. We don't have to think that, oh, I am so unworthy and I have nothing really special. Oh, that person, maybe he has achieved, that may be a talented person. No, that's not the truth. But Mother says that we can only serve that unique role when we get in touch with who we truly are, to find out our true individuality, to detach from the stream of thought, emotions, and feelings, to know our true nature, to have a little control over our, the movements of life. And then slowly the life unfolds, and the true purpose shines in life. Now your being, your presence is serving such a good purpose in life. Just your presence is enough, because you are who you truly are. And until that time, if I don't know what should I do in this life, Mother says, whatever you are doing on the way, do it with utmost sincerity. Do it as a service. How, okay, I know that this is not what I am born for, but right now I have this task. Okay, how beautifully I can give and offer myself in this task. So like that, having a beautiful attitude towards work. And also not leaving our side and being our bestest friend. Being very okay in our company. People will come and go. Even our bestest of friends and loved ones and children who are very close to us, they will leave. Each soul has their journey. But I will not leave before me. I am going to be there. So I think being our bestest friend and enjoying our company, being okay with our company, and having good things to, also good activities and things to pursue in our life, which keeps us healthily occupied. That's something which cannot be really escaped. It's good to have our own company and to be okay with that. So this is something again from the mother's words. And I think I'll just request someone of you to read this, but maybe later, not right now. So this again is from the mother, and we will read this first, and then we will come to this one by the mother. Yeah? So anyone who feels ready to read this would be really good.
Read, Monica.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Never seek a support elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never for anything at all. All your needs can be satisfied only by the divine. All our weaknesses can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy or heaven knows what in anyone else, you will always fall on your nose one day. And that always hurts. Sometimes even hurts very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It resonates, doesn't it? I think all of us have done that at one moment or the other. And we have all been hurted. We have all gotten hurt. We have all been wounded, bled enough. But then it's good that we have experiences and now we know what is the way, which is the right way. Yeah. And also, it doesn't mean that it's a lone journey. Although inward journey is a lone journey, but we always have community. We always have a couple of people at least in our life who we can get in touch with, so that we get again and again back on the path. And that's what a true family is supposed to do. A true family nurtures each other. So yeah, to take refuge, as you were saying yesterday, in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. So the community, the scriptures, the teachings, the words of masters, Mother Aurobindo, all the people that have guided on the path, and to take refuge in the divine. So I think, sorry. Yeah, this is what I wanted to go through. So anyone who wants to read this one would be really nice. Again from the mother.
In truth, a cultivated and illumined vital can be as noble, as heroic and disinterested as it is now spontaneously vulgar, egoistic, and perverted when it is left to itself without education. It is enough for each one to know how to transform in himself the search for pleasure into an aspiration for the supramental plenitude. If the education of the vital is carried far enough, with perseverance and sincerity, there comes a time when, convinced of the greatness and the beauty of the goal, the vital gives up petty and illusory sensorial satisfactions in order to win the divine delight.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So this sense of lack that we have within, owing to the fact that it makes us run after things, people, situations, to fill up that sense of lack. That what do I do that this sense of lack is fulfilled? And Mother here shares that this emotional and this vital sense of desire and always wanting to become more full, and we never actually get fulfilled. It can only happen when we cling to the divine. And the more we cling to this divine consciousness within and without, the more we cling to it, the taste that we get through it, slowly as we get kind of addicted, if I can say, to that divine nectar, everything else kind of falls away, withers away. So all the bad addictions fall away once I have this beautiful addiction of the divine. So if I really want to get rid of all my little petty addictions, either of the senses or all these sense of lack that we have, then cling to something higher, cling to something beautiful. And slowly, as I cling enough to that something beautiful, and I'm also able to taste all that beauty and to rejoice in that, that goodness within, we would not crave for all that oily, spicy food. At times, oily, spicy food may feel good. That's a different thing, but it would not be a craving. Like if I don't eat that, then I'm so unfulfilled. So if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, I am so fulfilled. So this addiction, all our addictions to thought, feelings, and all these, even social media addiction, all these addictions can be let go of only when we let the divine fulfill that crater that we become again and again, the sense of lack that we become again and again. Cling to that. And Mother says, in the last few lines, that if the education of the vital is carried far enough, so we have to practice. It doesn't come so easy. With perseverance and sincerity, there comes a time when, convinced of the greatness and the beauty of the goal, that, oh my God, this is really worth pursuing. This is what I must give my life to. The vital gives up petty and illusory sensorial satisfaction. So we are able to give up our stubbornness, that this is how I want to be fulfilled. We are able to give up that stubbornness in order to win the divine delight. Really beautiful. Yeah. So I think I'm almost towards the end. So I wanted to share that a few teachers which have influenced me on the path, really transformative, because they keep on stressing again and again on this idea of know yourself as the knowing, know yourself as the consciousness, are Rupert Spira and Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo. And this book I recommended to a couple of us who I already am connected with, Cave in the Snow. This book has been really very transformative because it puts things back into the picture perspective again. So these teachers, if you like to go through, they are not disconnected from what Mother and Sri Aurobindo are saying. That's the beauty. They are kind of giving us more material so that we can follow the path of integral yoga even beautifully. So very much in alignment with what Mother says and what Sri Aurobindo stresses upon. So wanted to share this, and for those of us who are interested in kind of continuing a bit of satsang and reading Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's words and reflecting upon them, so we have this through livinglight.in. We have a WhatsApp group of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, where time to time there are sessions happening. Some of them are free, some of them have a little contribution. I can put you on the WhatsApp group, those of us who are interested, or maybe I can share the link in the chat group so that anyone can join through that link. And then there are weekly sessions happening. One session is every Tuesday, 7 p.m., which is on reflections on prayers and meditations by the Mother. And it's a 9-week course, requires a bit of contribution and registration, but rest two are free. Thursdays at 2:45 p.m. we meet for Savitri, and it's a bit different Savitri in the sense that we keep it very personal, in the sense we connect it with our practical day-to-day experiences. So the reflections are in that way. Thursdays at 2:45 p.m. Again, link can be shared and you can join. I can put you on the WhatsApp group also. And on Friday, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we meet to share reflections on words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So anyone can share any passage and then we collectively reflect upon them. So yeah, this is for those of us who are interested. And before I take up reflections, let's go through this dedication. Let us dedicate the virtue through all these gatherings and satsang to all the infinite number of beings. So anyone who would like to go through the dedication, and then we can end the presentation.
I dedicate all the virtue I have gathered throughout the 3 times, along with the virtue of the victorious ones, the Bodhisattvas, and all beings, followed in the footsteps of the Buddhas and their heirs, to the lasting happiness of all the infinite number of beings.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I think we can open for about, I think we have still 10-15 minutes left. Any sharing, any questions?
Look at these on Mother's book, Science of Living, her last paragraph. Now all will depend upon the ideal which the effort for mastery and transformation seeks to achieve. The value of the effort and its result will depend upon the value of the ideal. And that's a subject she takes up in mental education. And in my sharing earlier about saying that how even when the children sided with me, I felt uneasy. It was because I realized that my ideal to bring them up as Mother's children, that I'm only the instrument which brought them into the world. My ideal was that. And although as a human mother, I don't have that in myself, and that I was very aware, and obviously going through a hard time with dealing with the imperfections in myself, knowing I'm not being the ideal parent either that Mother is asking, but always this goal, this ideal that I wanted for the children, which is the ideal of the mother, not ideal as a human mother, or they should be this, or they should be successful, or whatever. I feel it helped me. So this sentence is quite powerful, that the ideal what one has to follow, then you put in. And yes, I realize that as a mother, the effort one puts into children is like huge. You're willing to, give off yourself more and more, but then it filters somewhere else as well. So it's yeah, just thought this, and then it resonated with that last reading that Swapna did as well, about the goal and the.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
does it make sense to put words of advice to say children, when you know that, the things being done is not that okay, not good for him or her, even to your friends, does it really make sense to drop words of advice? What do you think? Or just to, allow them to learn from mistakes and from experiences?
Yeah, Abhijit, I think it's a blend of both. I think that maybe works, right? So also would depend upon what is the kind of relation I have with my children. Are they receptive to what I'm saying? Or are they, do they become a wall whenever I open my mouth? Because that happens many a times, that children do not have a very healthy relationship with parents, and the moment the parent says something, they become a wall. So in that sense, I think if that is the case, then there is no other way but to let them learn from their mistakes. But if there is a healthy kind of a relationship where people are able to listen to each other and be receptive, I think words of advice definitely would help, if people are receptive.
I think Sri Aurobindo said somewhere that I never give any advice unless someone comes to me and asks for it. So I think
that's
that is
really
difficult to follow, but I think that's a very sound piece of advice.
Absolutely.
Unless one is asked for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yes, Pranabji, you want to share something?
Actually, you're right, Abhijit. Don't give advice unless it's solicited. It's very right, because, especially if I connect with my own family. See, if your daughter or son is just 7, 8, 10 years, okay, 12 years, probably receptivity may be higher. But if you want to advise something to your daughter, for example, I want her to wake up early at 4:30. She wakes up at 9 o'clock, but she sleeps at 2 o'clock. Then I'm giving an example. See, I am going my own way, she will go in her own way. But advice is something we should not give unless, otherwise there can be ego clash. Let people observe, because next generation is following something very unnatural. Sleep late, wake up late. But then, say in my case, for example, I started after 45, waking up at 5 o'clock, for example. So my routine is different. Her routine is different. So no advice. Let them learn from their own mistake. That's the best way.
True, but if you see that that something is going to hurt your near and dear ones, then perhaps to refrain.
That is an experience. There's an experience, Everybody gets hurt sometime, somewhere. So advising a grown-up,
sure,
I don't think it will help. It will only create more issues. Anyway, this is my thinking.
Yeah, Claudia, you want to share something? Okay.
Sorry. No.
Okay. And also, I think we should not underestimate the power of prayer. We should not underestimate it, because we think that if I cannot give a piece of advice to anyone, and if I cannot really make something happen in the external world, then there is hardly anything I can do. That's not the thing. If I am truly connected to my inner center, and if I pray wellness and may the other person learn and progress through that experience, because often as I was sharing, we don't wish well to others. We think that, okay, let him learn through his experience. He will fall on his nose and know that I was right. That's what we think. So to wish well for even those people who are, that may be making mistakes, to wish well and to wish that may they progress through these mistakes. May they get more and more connected to their true center through these mistakes. So having that goodness in the heart, I think the power of that goodness is very strong, very, very strong. So this can be done even when I'm not living with that person, or that person is not listening to me. You can still pray. Yeah.
Okay, there's another thing, Monica, like, we have too much of good stuff now, so much of online discussions, all kind of books, all kind of sharings. But mother said somewhere like, read little. It's, to be is perfect. To know is good. To live is better, but to be is perfect. To know and to live, I think, more or less, most of us know. We have all, in today's world, we know what is good. And but I think, does it come in the way of someone to become really knowing too much, listening too much, reading too much, even good things, I say, or to sharing too much? It's better to remain silent and not to talk unless it's absolutely essential, not to share one's experiences also, because that might create ripples, which is again, can disturb one's peace. And so that way, what do you think? I mean, unless it is necessary, it's better to be silent and not to read much, not to really too much of, acquire even the good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Yeah.
So
Because
first
you
of all,
find masters, many masters who did not know how to read and write. Okay, they were illiterate. Right? You name one after another. You quote Kobe, Kabir, Sri Ramakrishna, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad. They were all, they were all illiterate. So reading too much books and gathering too much of knowledge, do you think that comes in the way we live? Even it is a very good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's first of all beautiful that you have brought this up. I think it cannot be stressed enough that we do get lost in all that reading and intellectualizing and philosophizing. I cannot agree more with you. I think it's very, very powerful what you just shared. And that's what we have been actually struggling with, in all these sessions also, that the mind does not want to remain with one little thing. It just wants to hop and jump and maybe know more and want more. This tool is not enough, that one, that one is more. So absolutely, I think, but that would depend on the nature, the inclinations, natural inclinations, because some people are more body oriented, and hence no amount of literature can really help them be on the path. And hence any movement with the body or physical exertion may be their path. Some people who are more intellectual may first need to know more and read more, and then realize, oh my God, even after reading so much and struggling through so many philosophies, where have I really got? Am I, as you said, to be? Am I there? So I think it's, first of all, infinite varied journeys. Everything would depend on our swabhava, and also that to be, the power of just being fully who we are, which actually takes a long time, because all the muck and layers of ignorance have to be shed off. That's absolutely, I think we cannot stress the importance of that. Yeah. So thank you.
Also how to identify oneself, so swabha, the nature, because you have very rightly said, some people, for me, for example, I don't feel at ease, talking, and you will find, persons like you, there are many who would like to share experiences, and then you're also gaining in the process. But it may not be quite so for me and some others. For some, maybe, doing a particular work in a particular way, or maybe, to be really go ahead and contribute something, ideas, or maybe even to whatever he thinks right, to express that in the society and the community is something. For others that might be a deterrent. What I say is, like earlier we had all these varnas, right? Like Brahmana, Kshatriya. So we have that kind of tendencies even today. The people who are public oriented, more socializing, they will have some kind of nature. Others will not have that. But then you can think that, it's I should take a stand, I should go ahead and do this. But that may not be your shabab or nature. So I think, is there any easy way to really find out what is it for what? If you at least restrict yourself to that 4 varnas that we had, to where to concentrate more or to connect to one's divine nature.
Yeah.
either intellectually or maybe bhakti or maybe read less, but then contemplate, otherwise through work or through by service. These are completely different, kind of tendencies. And some people have it, some people don't, one or many of them.
So you said something, is there any easy way? There is no easy way. Mother shares, and I will read that, maybe share that excerpt in the WhatsApp group. Mother says that to know our natural inclinations, preferences, tendencies, it's an assiduous task. It's not an easy task. So one has to, first of all, dedicate oneself to this journey, that I will get to know what suits me, what makes me uneasy, as you were sharing, and where I can progress from. Mother says from near to far. So what are my natural inclinations right now that call me? Nurturing them, first of all, noticing them, recognizing them. It's an individual personal journey, and then to cultivate them, and then also cultivating those capacities which are not inherently there in me. So that's what mother's suggestion is. I'll share that little paragraph by the mother. There is no easy task, way out. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so any last comments from anyone else?
Monica, I mean, I think sometimes it also changes, and sometimes when we don't know ourselves, it's like mother takes that out of you. Because I mean, as a child, teenager growing up, it was all about sort of wanting to be left alone, wanting to be by myself, very introvert, wanting to spend New Year's Eve meditating rather than going out, like what is a normal teenager. And that was my inclination. So even when Mother and Aurobindo came to me, I would say it was all about silently just letting things flow. And it was like a bhakti yoga, but then things almost came to me in terms of reading. I never sought reading, but it kind of slowly changed. And in fact, something that I felt latent that needed to be brought out of me for the work that perhaps Mother wanted me to follow, because she threw me into situations which was not my natural inclination to want to do. I didn't want to be with people. I didn't want to be socializing. I didn't want to be talking. But somewhere that kind of changed along the way. And then it changed again with me wanting to read. So I don't know, it was like easier to flow with the river and see, okay, what is it that comes about, rather than having a hard and fast rule. Otherwise, it was always like, I don't like to talk. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But as soon as that sort of slowly is getting dropped, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. Taken over by something else other than my mental feeling.
Yeah, beautiful. I think if we can be with the flow of life and again serve to do much better and better and better, and becoming better and better version of ourselves, that's the right attitude. Mother also talks about right attitude, and it's beautiful if it can happen that way. Yeah, really. Yes, Jyotsna.
Yes, thank you so much, first of all, for James for organizing such a wonderful workshop. How I connected to this workshop, I was reading the book Growing Within, and I bumped on the word vital, and I want to know in depth about it. And this workshop came as an offering. And thank you so much, Monica, the way you shared the concepts, the way you all the people in the platform were talking. It was, it's 4:30 a.m. for us in US, and I was waking up without setting up even my alarm. Yeah, it's so powerful. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, really loved the workshop.
Thank you so much, Jyotsna ji. I think it's your aspiration which is making you wake up so early. Otherwise, ask other people. They are not ready to wake up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible.
Yeah.
A formidable woman.
More power to you. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Any last comments? Anyone?
Well, I think this workshop has been a wonderful lesson to us all in living consciously, in the art of living consciously, which is what practice for me is all about. It's been it's been like a lesson in taking the right course, and very, very grateful, Monica.
Thank you
Very
so
good.
much, James, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, the platform, and also having so much faith in me, giving so much of opportunity to me to have these sessions. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a
And thank you
pleasure.
everyone to participate, and more power to each one of you, and may we all continue journey way back home.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the recordings will come on Monday, I'm afraid, because we're closing shop at the moment. So the recordings will come on Monday, and the summaries will come on Monday, tomorrow and Monday. So the last two summaries will come on Sunday and Monday. So no, Tuesday probably actually. So it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you very much everyone for participating so meaningfully in this gathering.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you, James. Thank you, Nama. Thank you, Monica.
everyone.
Thank you.
Been a great adventure.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you,
Sridevi.
Monica. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste, everyone.